Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. The Aspects of Aging weekly talk show with Christine A. Smith. Each Monday at noon Central, Christine hosts unscripted conversations with experts. Learn more at agingbetternetwork.com. Showing Up, Perspectives on Cancer, and the in-person event October 3rd through 5th in Garrison, New York. Contact Russ Hedge to learn more. Email russ@russhedge.com. James Reed and Associates, protection with trusted insurance solutions, specializing in nonprofits, ministries, small business, and personal lines of coverage across the Northwest. Online, jamesreedagency.com. 10D Tech delivers fast, friendly, and fully managed IT services for Oregon businesses. Call 541-250-3492 and online at 10dtech.com. And now let's get on with the show. Yeah.
Hey, let's get on with the show. Good morning, everybody, or whatever time it is where you are. Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We're here Wednesday morning every week. 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time is my time. 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time for Scott in the Midlands. And we're so glad you're here, right, Scott?
Yeah, we're glad everyone's here. And we're really grateful for all of those sponsors. And I just want to give a special shout out to Dave Hodgert at 10D Tech. He was a wonderful guest on the Monday show, The Experience Local, Believers in Business. Just a great story, very inspirational. And also some practical tips about keeping your computer and phone safe, whether at home or in business.
Yeah, Dave is an amazing individual. So thankful for him. Really thankful for all, like you said, all of our sponsors. We got such great people. Want to do a highlight too for Tim Sohn, Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, one of our sponsors, and the live conference in Garrison, New York, coming up October 3rd through 5th. Please join us there. I will be there inspiring and encouraging you every morning. And it's going to be Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And would love to have you there. Love to meet you in person. So if you guys can make it, that'd be great. Everybody is affected by cancer one way or another, whether like myself, you're going through a cancer journey, or you're supporting somebody, or you have family members that have gone through cancer. So hope to see you there for that. And
Russ, I want to highlight another show that you're doing tomorrow on September 11th. You have Bobby G coming on as a guest. Give a little highlight into that, because it is obviously a day of remembrance for many of us across the country. Right. Bobby Gare has a unique story to share.
Well, definitely. I mean, 9/11 for most of us is a pretty monumental day. I guess it all depends now how old you were back when it happened, but I remember that day so well and exactly how it transpired. And then I've been blessed to go to New York several times, from the time there was a big hole in the ground where the Twin Towers were, to being up in the current Freedom Tower and being able to see New York from up there. But the beautiful thing was, last time my friend Bobby G took me on his own personal tour of the 9/11 Museum and the grounds around the area where he was the day he was crawling under right after the towers had collapsed. He is an amazing hero. You do not want to miss it. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be great. Coming up tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Marketing with Russ. So please be there for that. Scott, thanks for bringing that up. I want to remind everybody, Scott, I'm going to let you take this one about how to get in touch with us.
Yeah, please go to the website, local.theexperience.video. There you can find links to our YouTube channel. We would appreciate the follow there. Give us your link. We will also follow back on your YouTube channel. You know, if you have 100 YouTube followers, you're like in the top 10% of the world. We would love to get you there. And you can also find our LinkedIn, books, and Russ has an upcoming book. And so go into local.theexperience.video, follow, click on the link to his book. It'll take you to the Amazon page. Click on his author name, click follow. So when the new book is released, you'll get notified.
And we just try to keep things simple, you guys. Local.theexperience.video. If you know the name of this show, you're going to be good. If you want to just subscribe to our YouTube page, you can go to the experience.video, but either one is good, and especially local.theexperience.video. So also want to remind everybody that after we go live today, this sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, where we broadcast. LinkedIn and YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days. And then it also covers the audio podcast. You can listen on Spotify, and we would love for you to listen. If you're not able to watch, please comment and give us likes wherever you go. We'd really appreciate it. And especially subscribing to the YouTube page. Thank you for that. And with that, Scott, I think we should get the show rolling.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear from Beatrice.
Me too. Let's bring her in. Good morning, Beatrice.
Hey, everyone.
How are you doing?
I am badass. Thanks so much for having me on, Russ and Scott. Like, so excited.
Well, it's always great to have you here. I was just going to start off with the basics for those that don't know you. Who in the world is Beatrice? What are you up to?
So I am the founder of Badassery by Babe, where I take care of brand strategy and positioning businesses outside of competing with the rest. And more importantly, making sure that it actually works in operations rather than a visual first, very much against rebrands. That's the mission. And I'm also the host of the Art of Positioning podcast, where we're in season 3.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. Not as much as you guys. 223 episodes for season 7.
So we started January of 2021, right, Russ? This
That's right. Yep.
The first show came out, and lots of stories over the years. We've talked to great people, but let's talk about what your process is when you go to a business, because honestly, if you're in business, you have a lot of competition that looks very similar, and it's just another brand of sweet corn on the shelf. What do you do? How do you make people stand out?
So first thing is not jumping into a visual first rebrand. And I know, like, as a brand strategist, it's a very weird thing to say, but they tend to do more harm than good. I mean, we just saw this with Cracker Barrel, where
Sure.
they decided to go from something very well-known to something that's blending in. Same thing with Jaguar. So it isn't about that. And the process is very much understanding the company. So understanding the reason you went into all of this at the beginning, right? And the goals, who your target audience is, what are your competition doing? And from that, you can take different routes in terms of positioning. So doing that research and then having a look at, like, hey, what are the values that we stand for? And that's going beyond, very generic values. So things like impact, it can have very different meanings to different people. It's very subjective. So it could be impact as in Hiroshima, or impact as in world peace.
Mm-hmm.
you want something where your team are going to know it. Maybe they'll use different words, but it will still mean the same thing. So if you go and ask your team, okay, what are our values? And they're not sure, they're just guessing, or they pull up your website and be like, it's this, and it's not really means anything, right? So from that, then you can go into, hey, how do we differentiate ourselves? How can we position ourselves in the market, either using looking at customers, the target audience, their journey, or looking at competition, how you can complement or offset each other, or completely step away, looking at the industry shoulds. That's the third one. So like, these are things that have always been done. What's something that we can take out, or we're already taking out? It's the idea is for you not to be starting something new, rather leaning into something that you're already doing that your competition aren't necessarily doing. And the fourth one is any quirks that you might have. There's the dentistry. I believe it's in California, and it's all about skateboarding. They even have skate ramps in the office, so kids actually are excited to go, which I'm pretty sure this might be like the only dentistry where kids actually were like, we want to go to the dentist, because I most certainly did not. Those are the four ones. Once you have that, then it's like, hey, okay, how does this look like? This is your positioning. What does this look like when we're hiring somebody? What does this look like with our sales team and their discussions with their customers? How do we make sure that the team is on board? What does that position reflect in their minds? Right? So you're getting them on board. What does that look like in marketing?
Well, I wanted to say what I love about you, Beatrice, is you practice what you preach. You're unique, set apart. You have things that stand out. And I think it's that we're all individuals, and people need to realize there's no cookie cutter stamped brand for everybody, right? Talk about that a little bit more. I mean, it is so important to really be you, be authentic.
At the end of the day, we lose a lot of what makes our businesses unique and ourselves unique through school, through shoulds. We should be doing this because everybody else is following that. Like, take, for example, AI, or the being modern, same thing like Cracker Barrel, whatever. But like, if we look at AI, which now you have a look on LinkedIn, right? And everybody's talking about AI this, AI that. The difference is everybody else is also getting on board on it. So, but what is your take on that? What are your values? And how do they reflect your take on that? So for me, for example, yes, I use AI, but I also understand that no, it's never going to take my job, because the way that it learns is very different to how we learn. We all have been learning since we were little through experiences. So unless AI is about to go and pick up some balls and have those experiences and burning their hand on the stovetop, it's not going to be able to reflect as well as we could. It's a great tool, and that's how I see it, right? So it is very much going within. It is questioning that first answer. We always have that first answer. What do you think about this? Going beyond that first answer. Okay, why do you think that? Or what makes you think that? Going further, going deeper, and getting to that point where you're like, oh my God, that's the moment there. And that's what you lean into. That's what creates that differentiation, because it's already in there.
It does take people. Computers do what computers do. And I worked for a bank. They went through a rebranding. This is when I was fresh out of college. They were just going through a rebranding, and they came up with this brilliant tagline that said, we'll do it right the first time, every time. And if we don't, we'll fix it right the first time, every time. And then of course, it just feels like we're just going to keep iterating this until you leave. We're going to keep trying to make it right. And then the state, I think it was the state of Indiana, that paid $1 million to a marketing firm to come up with a tagline that said, Indiana, it's not for everyone. And I can guarantee you that that AI would never come up with putting skateboard ramps into a dentist's office.
Exactly. That's the thing, you know, that we tend to go for the things that are very obvious and make it like as if it's something special. So like, you know, what you were saying about the bank, right? Shouldn't that be the bare minimum that we're going to try to fix something?
Yeah.
So same thing, like service. It's not a point of differentiation if it's something that you would expect anyway.
Yeah. Jeffrey Moore talks about core and context, and core are the things that you need just to play, right? So if you're a bank, yeah, if I give you a deposit, it's going to be accurate. That's required, right? That's entrance into the game, right? Now, maybe being open till 9 o'clock at night because I'm a shift worker and I can't make it during the day. That's maybe a differentiation. That's what differentiates you. But
Exactly.
yeah, so tell us about some of your success stories where you have helped people out, helped businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could even look into that bank idea and be like, hey, so from these 4 directions, okay, if we're looking at the customer journey, so what you said, how can we approach the journey so that maybe we're earlier? Maybe, you know, people usually consider banks when they want to invest or etc. It's like, okay, how can we get earlier? Or the experience side of things. Maybe we're putting in a skate ramp into the bank, try to get the young folk in there, right? Try to go the opposite of what I see a lot of banks are doing at the moment. And I heard this in the UK, they're getting rid of bank branches. So what if you go the opposite direction? What if it's about that human experience and having that memorable time while you're in a bank instead of stressed and going like, oh, you know, did I bring my passport? Did I say all these things? So those are a couple of areas. In terms of the experiences that I had, I'll talk about one where I was working with a architectural door and hardware business. So, you know, doorknobs, cabinet handles, and it's elegant. It's for the higher tier, right? It's all custom pieces. And what we found, and this is looking at, you know, their competition, them, all of the messaging, if you overlap your websites, it's essentially saying the same thing, just slightly different words, right? So there's no clear differentiation. And so we asked, okay, what's a common, like, what's something, an issue that keeps on coming up every single time you're with a client or, you know, somebody's buying from you? And what they said was often by the time that they approached these pieces, these doorknobs, these cabinet handles, the buildings had already been built. There's already the build-a-grade door. So there's no custom side. And imagine, you know, you're coming in, you're like, hey, so this is my Pinterest and I want a door, like, you know, a beautiful fold-out door or, you know, these kind of cabinets. They're having to say, look, I'm sorry, you know, you've already got these build-a-grade doors in. We can't do anything unless it's going to cost you thousands of additional dollars to knock that down. So we're like, okay. So I asked him, I was like, at what point in their journey could they avoid this issue? Is there at a point where they wouldn't have that problem in the perfect world, right? And what they said was it was when interior designers are drawing out these entryways. We're like, okay, so now we've adapted your target market and honed it in, interior designers, moved to a completely different point in the journey, which none of the other competition is looking at. But the next thing is, and the most important thing is, how do we make it relevant to them? Because why should they care about doorknobs and cabinet hardware at that point? And it's like looking at what they find important. And the thing for them was, hey, we want to be considered number one. We want to be considered trendy. We want to be in these magazines so that our customers, there's more customers coming to them. So we found that point. It's like, hey, let's be that resource at that point in time. So maybe just before, they're drawing out the building, drawing out the house, etc. How can we be a resource to them? And then it's all about like adapting. We've got this position, being that resource to interior designers. Now, what does that look like in marketing? How can our team talk about that in conversations in the showroom? How can we adapt the words on the website that reflects that? You're not changing your business. You're adapting and pivoting so that it reflects this fresh position. And people are seeing, these interior designers, they started speaking with them. We started this podcast where interior designers are talking about the trends. They're also talking about trends, providing tools. So all the different parts of the business came together, and suddenly they've started getting more interest on their social media, more people reaching out, more businesses reaching out to sign up for the trade section.
Fabulous.
It's a small
You know,
step.
I was just going to say, it's amazing because you can just see how much you care about the people you work with, diving deeper, learning more about what their real needs are, how they can really impact, how they can maybe change and pivot to be more impactful in all that they're doing. And, I think this is what people are looking for. Somebody like you, not that just is pushing cookie cutter stamped programs on people, but that's really diving in and finding what the core issue is. You ask, you listen, and you help them adapt from there. So that is such an awesome thing. So if I am out there and I'm thinking, man, my stuff is a mess, I need to call Beatrice, what's the first thing you're going to work with me on when I call and say, I don't know what to do?
First thing is asking what you have been doing thus far. What have you tried? What does the results look like? What have you been frustrated about? Because there's no point in just being like, hey, let's do X, Y, Z. It's more of understanding like, hey, this is what you've been through. These are the frustrations. Understanding also from the customer perspective, getting that insight about like, okay, when they're coming to you, what are they saying? These bits of information are all going to guide how we can position the business and what changes we can make, and even the strategy in terms of implementing it, right? If I don't know about, say for example, one of your people on the front end, your customer service, they keep on getting the same kind of feedback going, people keep on being frustrated with this one problem about the watches that we're selling. If we don't get that feedback, we don't know that, any changes that we make aren't going to reflect well. You're not going to be able to position or pivot well.
I just I want to swing back to the whole AI world because it's such a it's such an evolving tool, and many people just say we're using AI, but they're really using automation, right? Just email sequences and things like that, and so people are not really understanding it. Can we get your perspective on rational ways to use this and what kind of tools you might recommend?
I think it really depends on the business. I'm not a AI expert. Like
Yeah,
I'm
we're I'm not asking you to be an expert. I'm just kind of from your perspective
Hmm.
as a branding professional that obviously this is rubbing up against you every day. What are you seeing?
I see a lot of businesses say that they're using it just to be present, just to be like, hey, we're also current, we're also like fresh in the market, but they might not necessarily be using it in a way that's helpful to them. Or I think it is very much getting AI to understand your, say for example, in your brand, right? Getting up a form and do up a PDF. This is my brand voice. These are the things, these are my quirks. These are like the quirks that make up the business. These are the kind of words, sentences, taglines, even to kind of like music. So it can get like a bit of a vibe of what your brand is, and then upload that. And then, then you can go in and be like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. And then use that as a point of inspiration. Then it's not just blending all of your work with everybody else in your industry. It's creating that differentiation. But without that information, spending some time on several pages, you can even get AI to help you on these several pages. Be like, hey, these are the points I have about my voice. Maybe it's bold, maybe like, these are the quirks, these are the points of references. When you edit in this style.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have that document, you can upload it, you can make it more you, and use AI that is more of that support.
Yeah. So quick question for you before we wrap things up for today. We're at the end of our show, but Andrew wants to know if you would have AI build a logo for you, or
No.
if you would. Okay.
That's easy.
I agree with that.
Oh, next question.
All right. Well, Andrew, that was easy. Okay. You could put more information in there to Andrew in the comments, but I'm going to have you give us your gold nugget of today's conversation, what you really want people to remember, and then tell us how to get in touch with you so people can reach out and get your amazing help.
Well, the nugget I would say is always make sure that it's relevant. Go beyond that subjective. That's the biggest issue that I find. Regardless, we're looking at content, we're looking at visuals, we're looking at like words. Make sure it's not subjective. Make sure there's an actual, say for example, a word, right? Like badassery. Like, are the three of us going to understand this one word in the same way? Or bold action. Make sure that it's clear. This is my main one, and keep on digging down until you get to that clarity. And what was the second question there? Because my brain just blanked.
How to get in touch with you.
Get in touch with me. All right. So one, I'm on LinkedIn is Beatrice Gutknecht, as you see below here. And you can also find my podcast, The Art of Positioning, on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, several other places, also YouTube.
That's so awesome. Well, we just appreciate you so much for being here today. You're a blessing. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And we highly encourage you guys to reach out to Beatrice. And just an amazing discussion this morning. I'm going to send you to the green room and say goodbye, but hang tight for just a sec. We'll be there in a minute. All right.
See you, Beatrice.
Appreciate both you guys.
You know, that bank doesn't exist anymore, by the way. So maybe had Beatrice been there, they would have been fixed. And the state of Indiana definitely needs to reach out to her, because Indiana is not for everyone. This, I don't think, resonates. So.
For sure.
Well,
Scott, so blessed to be here with you as always on Wednesday mornings. We're here at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time every week. Appreciate everybody for joining in. If you're here and you haven't said hi in the comments, please do. If you're watching on a replay, which a ton of people do, please put hashtag Team Replay. Say hi to us. You can still reach out to the guest. You can still reach out to us and each other in the comments. This sits on LinkedIn and YouTube forever, and it sits on Facebook for 30 days, and it also converts to audio podcasts on Spotify. You can reach out on local.theexperience.video for more information. Scott, any last words?
I'm just going to remind people, tune in tomorrow at 8 Pacific time into Marketing with Russ, and hear from a true American hero. Ask him about the little American flag lapel pin that Bobby G wears that was given to him by the President of the United States, George W. Bush.
Definitely. And this I want to show you is a special pin that Bobby G gave me when he gave me the tour of the 9/11 museum. And I tell you, he's like royalty there. Walk up and it's just like Bobby G, in we go, right? I mean, everybody else stops. It was just an amazing thing because he is truly an American hero. So, all right. Well, listen, don't forget, join us next week, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time. Until then, have a blessed and amazing week. Oh, and we don't want to forget Kermie, so have a good one. Enjoy life and enjoy
your experience.
See you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.